Hi, this is Joel Johnson. Welcome back to the Johnson Brunetti YouTube channel. I want to remind you before we get started on our topic today to subscribe to this channel and go ahead and click on the bell because then you'll get notified whenever we upload new educational videos. So today we're talking about financial independence. What is financial independence? I love the definition of financial independence that goes like this: the ability to do what I want when I want to do it and enjoy the people I love and the things that I care about. Having enough money to do that. That's really what we want and what I call financial independence. For some people, that means you continue to work because you want to work. You could stop working, but you continue to work because you want to work. For other people, they have that target in mind. When can I just quit working altogether? I just want to enjoy my life. I want to travel. I want to visit family. I want to do all the things I've been foregoing because I've been working hard and saving money. So that is financial independence. And the importance is because many people feel like after working for 30 or 40 years, they deserve a good retirement. They deserve some freedom. Quite frankly, a lot of people have been putting off a lot of purchases or a lot of travel as they've been raising their kids, putting their kids through school, or even if they don't have children, they've just been working hard to get their financial house in order, and there needs to be a reward at the end of that. By the way, some people actually say we should be experiencing the reward while we're working, maybe in our 40s and 50s. The problem with that is you've got to be really disciplined saving because we want that point where we don't have to work if we don't want to, and also sometimes our health prevents us from being able to do the things that we used to do. So the importance of financial independence, once again, is making sure that we have the money so that we're in control of what we want to do when we want to do it, not having to work or having to serve a different master because we've got to continue to generate income. Now, in order to do that, we've got to have some short-term goals. It's really important psychologically that you have short-term wins when you're building your financial independence. And in order to have short-term wins, I believe you need to have short-term goals, whether that's 90 days, 6 months, or a year. They really shouldn't be longer than that. I like the 90-day goals. It might be something like paying off a credit card, paying off a car loan, getting to the end of maybe a car loan, refinancing your mortgage, something so that you have these real short wins, because the way our minds work psychologically is if we don't have these short-term wins, it's hard to be motivated for the long term, and it's hard to have that motivation where we can, again, continue working when really the ultimate goal of financial independence might be 5, 10, 15, 20 years away. What about those long-term goals? Again, I think we talked a little bit about the long-term goals, which are, again, that ability to do what we want when we want to do it. And so long-term goals entail doing some financial planning, some income projection where you know exactly how much money you need to generate the income you want. And what we like to tell people at our firm when we're doing financial planning is pretend you're retired today. How much money do you want coming into the house every single month to do all the things you want to do? Don't worry about inflation. I know inflation exists. Don't worry about what rate of return you need on your money. Just start with saying, this is the goal. This is the long-term goal. When I get to retirement, I want, for instance, $10,000 a month coming into the house. And then if you work with a financial planner, they'll figure out the inflation and how much you need to save and so on. Now, part of that is, again, and I mentioned this earlier, do you want to continue working or do you want to retire early? And if you've built up that flexibility, if you've saved early in your life and you've watched out and you haven't taken on more debt, maybe you haven't upgraded your house every 2 years so that you get in over your head, then maybe you have the choice to retire early. And then that's the wonderful position that you can be in where you can say, I could retire right now, but I choose to work because I'm enjoying working. That's a wonderful place to be. Now, let's talk about debt. And I did mention debt a little bit earlier. It's critical to eliminate debt going into retirement. I think the only debt you should have going into retirement is the debt you might have on your house. Remember, a house is an asset that holds its value or increases in value. So that would be what we call good debt. Bad debt is what you want to eliminate. That would be things like car loans, any kind of credit card debt, maybe purchases that you've financed over a period of time, whether that's furniture, college education. If you've helped your kids or your grandkids go through college and you've borrowed money to do that, get rid of all that debt before you retire. Now, let's talk about a budget. And I don't like the idea of a budget, but you've got to kind of have a budget or at least have a rough idea of a budget going into retirement. Now, I mentioned earlier that goal of having a monthly lifetime income. What do you want per month? your budget can be as simple as that. My wife and I, Wendy, we kind of have this monthly budget. We don't break everything down by, how much we can spend on going out to eat, what is the cable bill, and so on and so forth. We just have in our minds, this is what we need to pay all the bills each month. And so that's also part of preparing for retirement. But again, this is the broad subject of financial independence. We're getting into the weeds a little bit here on some of the details, but all of this means you can set yourself for some wins, set yourself up for some wins when it comes to retirement. Now, when we get that goal and we get closer to retirement, let's say within 5 years of retirement, that's when we really want to start analyzing where is this income that we've talked about going to come from. And I like to first look at guaranteed income sources. That might be Social Security. It could be pension. If you're fortunate enough to have some kind of a trust fund that's paying you out every month, or an inheritance that's paying you out every month, those would be, for the most part, guaranteed income sources. Although that trust fund or that inheritance, you got to kind of analyze that a little bit. But for most people, we have Social Security, or we have some type of pension, or we have both. Those are guaranteed sources of income. So again, if my goal is $10,000 a month, and I'm getting $3,000 a month from Social Security and another $2,000 a month from pension, that's a total of $5,000. I've met half of my income goal. Second to that is we've got to look at what kind of money do we need to get off our investments to go ahead and pay that $10,000 per month. And again, we want to build a flexible plan. The key here is when we do planning, we've got to look at that lifetime income, get rid of that debt, do some kind of an income projection, but there's got to be flexibility. One of the mistakes we see people make when we work with them, especially when they're younger, let's say they're in their 40s and we do financial planning, is they think they're going to come up with a plan at, let's say, age 45, and that's going to last for the rest of their lives and they never have to change it. That is not the case at all. You've got to be flexible with your financial planning, and whoever you're working with has to understand that they've got to build a plan that's flexible, because things in life are going to change. You're going to have a family crisis here and there. Some unexpected thing is going to happen. You might have some kind of an illness. You and your spouse, if you have a partner, might have some kind of an illness that has to be planned for. So any kind of financial plan has got to have flexibility built in. And when it comes to flexibility, many of us need to change our mindset. We think, again, that we're going to come up with this perfect plan. First of all, get rid of perfect, because it's never going to be perfect. We're just trying to get on track. And secondly, we've got to be able to change and really almost expect those crises to come in life. I can guarantee you, in watching my mom and dad retire in their 60s, by the time they passed in their 80s, over that 20-year period, there were a number of things that happened that nobody could have expected. There were family situations where they had to help out. They both had different illnesses. They ended up moving unexpectedly. My brother passed away, which created another move later in life that was very stressful for them. So you've got to have this mindset that we're just building a roadmap, but that roadmap is going to have to change, and sometimes those changes come because things can be very unexpected. So let's summarize a little bit here. We've talked about building financial independence. We've talked about the need to have that ability to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And the things that go into that are short-term goals and long-term goals. We've got to build short-term goals so we have those wins. We want to have long-term goals because lots of short-term goals get us to that long-term goal. And again, that long-term goal should be financial independence, having enough money to do what you want to do when you want to do it. What are some of the things that go into that? Making decisions on when you'd like to retire. Doing some kind of an income projection. How much can I bring in every single month? Or better said, how much do I want to bring in every single month so I can do all the things that I want to do? Where are those guaranteed sources of income? Again, almost all of us have either Social Security or a pension. So school teachers here in the Northeast might not get Social Security, but they certainly have a pension. Some of you have both. What are these guaranteed sources of income? How much is that going to mean in retirement? That should add, if you have guaranteed sources of income, a lot of security in part of building a financial plan. Again, getting to this goal, and we're summarizing now the need for financial independence. Sticking to a budget. I don't like budgets. A lot of you don't like that word budget, but at least have an idea of what you need every month to pay your bills. And again, we can take present day, because even if you're 20 years from retirement, you can get a good financial planner to work inflation into that picture. And then, of course, building a plan and changing your mindset. One of the things that we've taught clients is when building a plan, write out your dream plan. without worrying about whether you can afford that, and then work backwards and see maybe you can build a financial plan that will help you afford that. Financial independence. I know for a fact, watching so many clients prepare for retirement and go into retirement, that the peace of mind and the relaxation that's created by having your financial house in order is just amazing to see when they're in those types of situations. But it takes planning 5 years, 10 years, 20 years before retirement. Now, here's the good news. If I say that and you get a little nervous because, hey, you just retired a couple of years ago, or you're only within 2 years of retirement, that's okay. There's still time. What you want to do is sit down with a financial planner, get the truth about where you're at, and then build a roadmap to the future. And that's what financial independence looks like, and it'll create a tremendous amount of peace of mind for you. So again, thank you for watching this YouTube channel, the Johnson Brunetti YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and click on that bell so that you'll get notified when we come out with more segments. We'll see you next time.